let's get into this video. It's gonna be a quick one. I'm gonna keep it very short, just get into the YouTube flow again. But I have the script on my phone, so if you whenever I'm looking at my phone, it's because I'm reading the script, which is the email that I sent out to my subscribers yesterday. So the email is based off my 7 most powerful lessons from 2024. So this is what I learned throughout the year. Some of them you've probably heard before. This is not all new stuff, but as I say in the email, there's one thing to be aware and know about this knowledge, and it's a totally different thing to actually live through them and experiencing them, because you just learn them on a much deeper level. And in 2024, I had, as I said in my email, I had probably the best year of my life. A lot of cool shit, a lot of awesome experiences, learned a lot in business, grew my agency quite a lot, achieved some really awesome goals on the personal side, which I'll get into as well. But all in all, a really good year, and but still a lot to learn from it. So that's what I'm sharing with you in this video as a 25-year-old entrepreneur running a social media marketing agency for the last few years. And trying to scale it, but now more looking to document the process of scaling an agency while building a community here on YouTube. So first, to give a little recap of the year, I started off the year in Indonesia. So I went down to Bali for a few weeks initially, and then I went to Lombok. And I really started the year off setting the intention for the year. And I think that's one of the things that I'm really grateful for that I did. I spent a lot of time just sitting down thinking through what I actually want, not just in the short term, but also in the long term. So writing what I want my life to look like in the next 3, 5, and 10 years, but also just what I want to achieve in the year itself, 2024. And I think that really made me gain awareness of where to prioritize my focus, and also what kind of opportunities to actually take action on in terms of business. So like what clients I take on. It doesn't really make sense to take on really small, tiny clients if you have a big goal of big revenue goal in the agency. So for me, that kind of shifted my mindset around like what kind of opportunities to even look at to begin with. And also on the personal side of things, it really having a set goal and looking forward is really something that motivated me a lot, and that helped me to get to the gym. I hired an online fitness coach that helped me set up a program that's more surf specific, and that made me have the best year I think I've ever had when it comes to fitness. Stayed really consistent and had a lot of fun doing it as well, and I think that's one of the key takeaways. I set it up in a way that made it really fun by having a coach, having an app where I track my progress, and having somebody holding me accountable, checking in on my progress. So that was really awesome. And I also met up with this coach in Portugal when I was there, which I'll get into a little bit later. So that was really something to work towards, getting on a physical level, like getting together and training together in person, not just online. So yeah, that was the first 2 weeks of the year, I think, was really part of what made it so well or so great. It's because I set the intention and I wrote down some goals. So if you're looking at this video now in the beginning of 2025, I would really urge you, even though we're late into the month, like take some time and sit down and think through what you actually want. What do you want this year? What do you want in the next 3 years, 5 years, and what do you want in the next 10 years? And how can you start to take small steps towards that? So yeah, that was a big one for me. Then I had an awesome year doing a lot of cool stuff in Lombok, hiking volcanoes, exploring different surf spots, also going to Sumbawa with my friend, where we had an awesome surf trip and scored some really, really cool waves. And yeah, just overall had an amazing, lifestyle there, full of like fitness, healthy living, adventure, and surfing, which is just 100% aligned with how I wanted to live life. So it was like one of those years where I really had to pinch myself a lot of times, after a long work day, going surfing with friends and just having really, really sick time. This is something that I dreamed about for a long time. So all of a sudden to be living it, it's very, very cool. Then after Indonesia, I went back to Norway, and that's also where I think I had, what made this year so great, because sailing for me has been a dream for such a long time. I grew up sailing a little bit when I was younger. Then I got out of it, but then as I got older again, I started to miss it, you know. I wanted to get back on the ocean on a sailboat. And this year, or last summer, we bought a sailboat, me and my family. So I joined them on doing that. We took the boat to Oslo in summer 2023, but we didn't really do much sailing. We had a few trips here and there, but it wasn't anything major. What happened in 2024, however, is that we actually went out of the Oslo fjord and we went on a proper sailing trip, and me by myself and with my friend that has no sailing experience. So it felt really like it would be much different if I did it solo. It definitely helps to have people on board, but in terms of like experience, there was no add-on in terms of experience having him there. It was really fun, but it was really like an accomplishment for me to know that I can handle the boat, make the right decisions, even though we did have some scary situations, which I learned from.
Bad weather, good weather, new sailor. First ever solo sailing. It's fucking hailing.
But yeah, that was a really cool trip. Went all the down to Sweden and back up again, and you know, no bad things happened. You know, everything went smoothly. My family enjoyed it. My friends enjoyed it. So it was really cool trip. Then after that summer, as it started to get colder in Norway, I went to Portugal with my good friend Denis, which you'll probably see in my content quite a lot because we're hanging out a lot. He's also running an online business. And so we set up the first edition of the Hacker House. So that's something you will hear a lot, the Hacker House, because right now I'm sitting in Hacker House, but this is the second edition. So Hacker House 2024, first edition, was in Portugal. So we rented an Airbnb for 3 months, rented a car for 3 months, sick car as well. We got a nice upgrade by the rental company. And then we just had 3 months of really intentional work on our businesses, on surfing, and on fitness. And doing it with somebody that shares the same vision and same mindset around like now we're doing 3 months of like a growth period. We're really trying to, you know, achieve goals and learn and grow and get better at business, get better at surfing, which is both our passions, and also fitness as well, to stay really healthy and fit. It just makes it so much more fun, you know. And it was 3 months, but I'll tell you, it felt like maybe 1 month. It went by so quickly. It's crazy. And I think it's just because we had so much fun. And I think 2024, one thing that I really learned is that when you make things fun, like discipline isn't that relevant anymore. You don't even need it to feel like you need to be disciplined. Sure, you need to have a certain amount of discipline, but when you actually wake up in the morning and you just can't wait to sit down and work, or like you find it hard to leave your desk in the evening because you enjoy what you're doing so much, it's very hard for other people to compete with that. That feels like it's work. For us, it doesn't really feel like work all the time. Sure, sometimes it sucks. I'll be honest, sometimes it absolutely sucks. But these great moments makes up for that. It makes up for it. And yeah, Hacker House first edition was awesome. Now we're doing the second edition in the beginning of 2025 in Indonesia. Despite all the awesomeness, there's still some lessons, some failures, and spending some time reflecting on that made me realize that this is actually something that's probably could be useful to somebody out there. Because even though I'm sharing this knowledge with you that I learned, when you experience it yourself, because you've heard it before, and you know that someone like me has gone through this mistake or this lesson before, it might make you more aware of it as well. So that's why I think it's worth sharing. At least I hope it is worth sharing with you. So 7 lessons. But this chair is very uncomfortable, so I'm going to change the setting a little bit. A lot more comfortable. So this is the Hacker House. As you can see, it's bit of a man cave, but we have a pretty sick setup, which I'll show you more later. But let's get into the lessons from 2024. So lesson number 1 is that health is everything. And I know you probably heard it 100 times, but at the end of 2023, for me, I really had a bit of a health scare. I got a fever that lasted for way longer than what fevers usually do. It didn't get any better for a long time, and I ended up in the hospital, and they couldn't even figure out what it was, and it started to get really worrying. And during all of this, I also had to manage my clients, which just made everything more stressful. That's like the downside of running your own business. You can't just call in sick, you know, you have to show up anyways. So yeah, ended up in the hospital, couldn't figure out what it was. But luckily, after a few weeks, I slowly started to get better. But it took way longer than what usually a fever like that would last. And during it all, I just remember feeling like all of the ambition and the business goals and the money-making goals that I had just vanished. And all I wanted was to feel healthy again. And it was such a realization how much health really matters, because as soon as you lose it, it's all of the other things, they don't matter at all anymore. So it doesn't just go for my own health, it goes for my family's health, my friends' health. As long as the people close to me are healthy and I'm healthy myself, then everything else is really a bonus. And end of 2023, I really understood that on a deeper level. And when I got healthy again, I started taking my health even more seriously. Like, I wasn't unhealthy before, but I just started taking everything a lot more serious in terms of like supplements, working out, staying healthy, getting sufficient sleep, all that stuff. So lesson number 1 is that health is the foundation of a good life. It is. Nothing else really matters. You can have as much money as you want, but if you're not healthy, nothing else matters. So lesson number 2 is a big one for me. That is that focus has a cost. And at the beginning of 2024, I sat down and I got really intentional, but I think I wrote down way too many goals. I was spreading myself too thin. And I reached a lot of those goals, but some of them did suffer, and some of the business goals that I set, they did suffer because I had so many other goals as well. So I added a nice quote here in the email that I sent out yesterday by David Allen. You can do anything, but not everything. And I think that's so true. I really felt it in 2024, being spread thin with the focus. It's just, you're not getting as deep into the thing you want to achieve when you also have multiple other obsessions that you also want to achieve. So this year, I'm definitely focusing more and eliminating more stuff and just leaving what I truly, truly care about and what is most important to me. So prioritizing more business goals this year, while also, of course, doing what I love, which is surfing, but definitely making sure that I create an environment where my most important goals can grow naturally. So understanding that just setting a bunch of goals is not going to get you all of them. You actually need to think that if you add on another goal, that sometimes has to then come at the cost of not reaching or not fully reaching some other goals. So definitely keeping that in mind for this year. Lesson number 3 is that fitness is much easier with a coach. And I think this doesn't just go for fitness, but a lesson for me in 2024 was that once I started off the year hiring an online coach to help me stay consistent with a program, it just made everything so much more fun and so much more easier. It gave me, it made it fun, but it also gave me this social accountability, and it helped me track the progress, which gives me that dopamine spike, when you log a set and you get like notifications on your phone, like you reach a new all-time high on a specific exercise. That's like you're hijacking your brain, giving you the dopamine that actually makes you a better human being and a more solid human being. And I think technology can also be used that way, not just social media. So that was really fun. And then also with the surf-specific program, aiming at something, at actually getting better at the thing that I'm really obsessed with, which is surfing, like my passion, that made going to the gym a lot easier. Now, there were a lot of days where I just didn't want to go to the gym. I didn't want to go lift weights. I was tired. But having an online coach, sending you messages, making sure that you need to hit your workouts every week to stay on with the program, it was making it a lot easier, or making it a lot more likely that I stayed on track with the program. So that's a big hack there. And I think the lesson that I take from that I want to take into this year is applying that same thing, like the social accountability and the fun aspect of it, into business. So potentially getting a business coach at some point this year. And if I do, I'll tell you my experience. If I find a good coach and I have a good experience there as well, then I'll let you in at that. But I think the lesson from 2024 really brings it home that you can cheat code life a little bit by just paying a coach to help you. So lesson number 4 on this one is a big one: lifestyle inflation. It's a threat for both peace of mind, but also business growth. So going into 2024, because of the health scare I had at the end of 2023, I started living less frugally. So I had increased my personal expenses quite a bit, and not like anything crazy, but you know, paying a little bit extra for accommodation, eating a little bit nicer, you know, buying some new surfboards, buying some nice gear. And I don't think it's only negative, because it gave me a lot of lessons. And some of those lessons were that spending more money, like, it doesn't attract cooler people, or it doesn't like impress anyone. It simply, if it attracts anything, it's just the kind of people that you don't want to hang around, you know. So that was a big lesson. Like, people don't respect you more if you spend more money. If it looks like you have more money than you have, like, nobody cares. Everybody just cares about themselves. And everybody that has money says this, that's gone through this, they say it. But it's something else entirely when you experience it yourself. So yeah, that was a big lesson there. And in terms of how I'm taking that lesson into this year, it's more of like, I want to be able to not have any money stress so that I can do more meaningful work. So the kind of work I'm doing now, where I'm creating content and providing value for free on YouTube, that gives me energy. That's like stuff I want to do. Now, my agency is more performance related, in terms of like, I have to make sales for other businesses. It's like a B2B business. That is fun to an extent, but it's a very different business to run, and a lot of times it can be a headache. So if I have to make sales to keep my contractors and keep the partnerships that I have there and keep the business running, then that's a stress element that's going to kill a little bit of creativity and the passion that I have for that business. So not spending a lot on the personal side will allow you to have more peace of mind, and also be more aggressive, or like do more of the stuff that you actually want to do. You can make decisions that's like aligned with what you on the long term, what you want to achieve, and not just necessarily to make payroll for next month, or to make things stay afloat, basically. So this year, I want to make sure that I have at least 12 plus months of cash reserves to like not really needing to make money for a long time with my business, and also being able to go on offense when you have a bigger opportunity. So investment opportunities, or just opportunities in terms of like hiring some good talent before you get the partnership started with the client, like being able to be on the front foot on the business side, because you're so well set up in terms of liquidity on your personal side. And also, business it's already stressful enough. Having a high burn rate and a lot of personal expenses, just to have like short-term gratification, is just not worth it. Lesson number 5, and this one is a big one that I'll bring it home with a story, but the lesson is that gratitude is a skill. And for a long time, I didn't really understand the gratitude journaling thing. It was never something that I really look into. I've been more into meditation and just keeping a quiet and still mind. So I've been into that, but gratitude journaling, I've always looked at it in a slightly like weird way. Like, I already felt like I was grateful. But the thing here is that it's really a skill. And I did came across a YouTube video of a really successful entrepreneur who was just doing that every day. So I tried to sit down a few mornings in a row to write down what I'm grateful for, and like really think through that stuff. And over time, it actually did change something on a deeper level in terms of the feeling of abundance. Like, you don't really need more, and you stop focusing so much on the stuff you don't have, and you're more content. And that doesn't mean that I'm not focusing on achieving more, but it just gives me a different kind of perspective of why I want to achieve more. Not necessarily just because I think I don't have enough, but because I want to make a bigger impact, or, you know, inspire people and do something for myself that I'm proud of, instead of just feeling like you're doing this because you feel insufficient and you feel like you're not enough and you need more. So it gives you a more grounded perspective, I think. And it's definitely something you need to practice. Like, you can quickly turn into a negative spiral mentally if you don't stay fit mentally. And it's really something that I'm taking into this year, because I think the mindset and how you think, it is like the gym. It is like a muscle you need to train and maintain. because I've always felt like I have full control over my mind. But very often I recognize all of a sudden that I'm just going down like a negative direction in terms of my thoughts and the patterns in my head. So being naive like that and thinking that you can just turn on a switch and just shift your mindset, I think that's very naive for myself especially. So thinking of it as something that you actually need to train and maintain, just as you need to do with your muscles in the gym, I think it's going to be a game changer for me this year, and maybe you'll take something from it as well. But yeah, making sure you train the mind, maintain it, and have a strong mindset, because regardless of what happens, you can't control everything, but you can control how you react to stuff. And I think as long as you have a good mindset, you can get through anything, regardless of what happens. So definitely gratitude is a skill. That's a big one that I'm taking into this year. So lesson number 6 is that momentum is everything. Momentum is big. It's big on a personal level, it's big on business level. And I added a quote there from Alex Hormozi that you don't need massive action, you just need relentless forward motion. And I think I've been a little bit naive in the past with how I deal with momentum and what I do when I have it, because I've felt like I can easily just pick it back up again. But momentum is something that I now think of as I need to hold on to it for dear life, because it is so valuable. And just to make you understand what I mean when I talk about momentum, when it comes to like a personal development and business perspective, it's usually when I feel no resistance to sitting down and, doing 4 hours plus of deep work on something really meaningful, or like something that takes a lot of mental focus. When I don't have resistance to do that, that usually means that I have a good momentum. I have a good flow of leads, and like the business is running well, deals are coming through, I'm putting out content and I'm getting inbound leads. Usually means I'm in momentum. When I'm hiring good talent and building better systems, you can just feel that the business is moving forward and I'm making moves. Usually a good sign that I have momentum. When I'm staying fit and I feel like I have high energy, I feel like the body is great. That's not something to take for granted. And that combined with like the business momentum is like, things can pop up and totally ruin that, on the health side or on the business side. Something can come up. And I think it's important to take advantage of when you have all of this. So you're constantly learning, and I wake up excited to work. That's also a good sign that I'm in a state of momentum and I'm moving forward. There's forward motion going there. When I wake up excited to go to work, like that is something to take advantage of. Not a lot of people can say that they wake up and they're excited to sit at their desk and work on something. So when I feel that now, I'm more mindful that it's something to protect and try to maintain as much as I can. So what I'm doing this year to make sure I can keep momentum for longer is, number 1, blocking of time for deep work, like really prioritizing the work that might not feel the most urgent, but it is the most meaningful. So not client work necessarily, but actually like work like this, making these kind of videos where I'm sharing my lessons. Like this video is probably going to get, 10, 15, 20, maybe 100 views at best, So it's not creating much, but it is meaningful to me. And in the long term, that's something I want to do more of. So I need to prioritize it, even though it feels not urgent at all. Like I have client work waiting on me, which I always have, but that feels a lot more urgent. But like prioritizing this kind of stuff, it's very difficult, but it needs to be done. Like this is the only time in my life where I can take this risk in terms of like prioritizing something that's meaningful to me. So blocking of time for meaningful work, removing removing distractions. I think creating an environment where your goals can just grow naturally and you can just get closer to them naturally is so key. So instead of adding stuff, removing stuff, like removing unnecessary consuming of content and Netflix and entertainment. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's not as necessary. You can do it every once in a while, but like every evening watching Netflix or YouTube and stuff like that can turn into, instead of like reading a book or something, that's maybe not the best thing to keep the momentum going. Junk food, alcohol, all that stuff, cut it out. And also this one is a little bit more important for me, because this is something that I've a lot of times fallen into, and that's like the decision fatigue that happens when you, especially when you travel like I do, and you go to a new location and you live somewhere new. You can quickly turn into like some drastic decision fatigue, because you need to find where to eat, where to potentially work if you want to work outside of your accommodation, where to go to surf, where to go to the gym, all that stuff. Those are all small decisions that's going to, without even knowing it, it's going to make you tired. And I felt it so many times. So right now, me and Denis, my roommate and my good friend, we're sharing this house together. We spent the last 2 days like really getting to know the area, figuring out where we're going to work out, where we're going to eat, so we can see how we can best build an efficient, frictionless routine. And now we also have good internet, and we have amazing desk setup here in the villa. So we can just stay here, order food for a whole day. If the surf is not good and we're not going to the gym, usually we do one of the two, but let's say we're just doing a full day of work, we can easily do that from here as well. So minimal stuff keeping us from working, and we're still working on this. We're talking about getting a coffee machine so we don't have to go out for coffee, and improving the desk setups a little bit more. But just making sure that you minimize the distractions and decisions you need to make to get things done. And then also, obviously, surrounding yourself with people that's like-minded. So for the last few weeks, I've been hanging out with my other friend who came down to Bali, and he's more in vacation mode. And there's nothing wrong with that. I was also a little bit in that mode together with him, and that was intentional. But spending time with people that are not on the same, like they're not trying to achieve something, that's just the worst thing you can do if you're trying to achieve something for yourself. So finding people that, so an example like I'm doing now with Denis, sharing the house, and we're both on the same schedule. We have the same understanding of what we want to achieve with this month and a half in this villa. Like, this is a period of growth. We call it the Hacker House 2.0. We focus on work, we focus on fitness, and we focus on our passion for surfing. That's everything we're doing. So that's how I'm facilitating an environment of growth this year. So if you feel like you have momentum, make sure you don't waste it. Hold on to it. Let it last for as long as you possibly can. And of course, take breaks. But one thing that I learned from 2024 was at the end of the year when I started traveling a lot. So I went to Madeira, I went to Morocco, and I went to Norway, Bali, and Vietnam, all in less than 2 months, almost less than 1 month. So it was a lot of traveling, and I totally lost all my momentum. I didn't feel like sitting down and working. A lot of times I just didn't feel creative. I didn't feel like I wanted to create stuff, and I didn't have any structure, and that really killed my momentum. And I think, it's not necessarily a bad thing to take a break, but that was just for too long, because picking it back up again, picking up the momentum when you have to catch up on work, catch up on the busy work and stuff, it's just much more difficult. So when you have momentum, hold on to it. And I'm definitely taking that lesson into this year. So lesson number 7, the last lesson that I'm going to share with you here, is the art of delegation. So I added a quote here from Tim Ferriss, which is focus on being productive instead of busy, which is taken from The 4-Hour Workweek, my favorite business book right here. Great quotes. And if you haven't read that book and you're into online business, or you want to do something within online business, definitely read it. Some parts are outdated a little bit, but a lot of the concepts and the ideas in there are just so valuable. So make sure you have a read. So in terms of lesson number 7, one of the biggest breakthroughs I had last year was getting better at outsourcing. So now I have a virtual assistant that's helping me. I had a product manager at one point and a creative strategist. Now we stopped with the product manager because we had more staff than we needed, essentially. I could have my creative strategist do more. So now I have a VA and a creative strategist, and I have a long-form YouTube video editor and a thumbnail designer, and also some other, like a website designer, Webflow designer, and what else do I work with? A tracking expert in terms of setting up tracking for my clients. So another developer there. I have a lot of contractors that I work with. So I delegate a lot of the work that I don't want to do myself, and I don't, there's already people that's better than me at it, so I just delegate it. But this is actually super difficult. It's not as easy as just finding someone and paying them to do it. Finding them is number one. That's the hard thing. You need to understand what to look through, and that also depends on what kind of position you're trying to fill. So this year I did a lot of trying and failing on this. Like I even did a partnership with a friend that turned out to not work out at all. But now I have a much better understanding of how to actually outsource and get other people to do the stuff that I don't enjoy doing, or the stuff that is not really moving the needle. It's not really giving me leverage. So examples of this kind of tasks that I give to my VA is like gathering my receipts to give to accounting. That's just the most boring thing ever, and it's not necessary for me to do. Scheduling my social media posts, like my YouTube videos and all that stuff. Once I've done my YouTube video and my video editor has edited everything, I don't want to have to go into YouTube, add in the description, add in the title, add in the thumbnail, upload it, click all the boxes. No, I just want to film the video, put it into Google Drive, review the edit, give some feedback, and if it's good, thumbs up, and then it gets posted. I want to make that process as seamless as possible, because sitting down and talking to a camera in itself is already it takes a little bit of getting used to talking to a camera and getting in front of it. So I want to make it as much of an enjoyable process as possible, because it gives me a lot of leverage having a personal brand on YouTube. So that's another YouTube channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's the YouTube channel where I just post like Facebook ads, strategy stuff, and it makes people book in calls with me, and then they become clients. So it's a different part of, it's not this YouTube that you're watching now. But yeah, outsourcing, delegating, it's a skill and it's an art form. And once you get good at it, it's not that you just make more money. It's not the main point for me, actually. It's more that everything becomes more enjoyable and it frees up my time. And that's also another big concept from this book right here. You want to not just have money freedom, you want to have time freedom and location freedom as well. And if I have team members that can stay on top of things and manage stuff and get my posts out there and continue to have my business running when I'm hiking a volcano in Indonesia, then that's a much more enjoyable and cool business to run than basically having a full-time job where you're your own boss, but like you cannot leave your desk. And yeah, so learn how to I cannot talk anymore. Learn how to outsource as quick as possible. And you know, I've spent thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours trying and failing. This is a skill, and I'm still working on it, but I'm much, much better at it than I usually was. And I'll probably make more videos teaching what I know so far, because it is like, I was told like, oh yeah, you have to get a media buyer, you have to get a virtual assistant for so long by mentors and business coaches that I had earlier on. And I fully understood it. It made total sense, but I could just never find anyone good enough to the point where it actually makes sense having them, because I would tell them what to do, I will pay them to do it, but it just takes more energy and time than just doing it myself. So no, it's definitely an art form, it's definitely a skill, and it's definitely something that I'll talk more about on this channel. But make sure you start learning that skill as soon as possible, because yes, it sucks to hire in the beginning. I don't enjoy it that much, especially in the beginning, because you're just failing over and over again. But at some point, it actually becomes a little bit more enjoyable, and it makes the day-to-day operations of your business so much easier. And almost regardless of what kind of business model you have, delegating and outsourcing parts of it, it's going to free up your time. It's going to give you more leverage, because you can now apply your energy, your focus, and your time to the things in your business that's moving things forward. And you can also do cool stuff. Go on a surf trip, hike a volcano, hike a mountain, go offline for a little bit, and your business continues to run. Like, that's what makes a business worth it in the end. And I think that's what makes the business an actual business and not just like a freelancing job, basically. So all in all, 2024 was definitely one of the best years of my life. It was awesome. And this year I want to focus more on this YouTube channel, and that's something that I started last year, but I did not fully commit to it and take it to where I wanted to take it to. So this year, trying again, and hopefully now I'll be able to put out some inspirational and also valuable content that can inspire someone to start their own business or scale their business, or just change the setup in their business to a structure or a way where you can enjoy it more, the operations of it, and also have time and freedom to do your other passions outside of work. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you watched the video all the way to the end, I'm surprised, but hopefully you got something from it. And please let me know in the comments if there's anything from this, if you enjoy this type of content, like getting more personal and giving lessons like this. If you enjoy that, let me know. Every comment that I get at this point is like so valuable to me. So yeah, it's going to be a sick year. I wish you the best in 2025 as well. And see you in the next video.